Case. Hello. What was that look for? I was like, it was the cat.
Did you hear that noise?
The meow? Yeah, that was me.
Was it?
Yeah, it's my new thing.
Was it? Because I thought
Meowing.
there was
Yeah.
something wrong with my cat. That's why I was like, because they'll
Oh
do
no, it
that.
wasn't me. Sorry.
Hi, Raquel.
Hi, Raquel. Hi,
Our
Chris. How you
beautiful friend.
doing?
Hi, Chris.
Welcome,
I'm not late.
everybody. Welcome, everybody, to Cali Cocktail Hour, the calming edition.
Yes.
Hello,
Usually we're like, rah! But today we're calming. I have Pumpkin here. I don't know if you heard his meow. That was an actual meow.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't like it when I pick him up when he's not ready. But he is chill, very chill cat, going to help us in setting the tone for tonight. Obviously doesn't want to be on camera right now. Anyway, it's good to be back.
Yeah. So how you doing?
Cat's whacking me with his tail. I'm doing all right. Yeah.
Hey.
Things they're good. They're okay. I'm a big fan of being honest. I think I'm like, here. How about you? How are you doing?
I'm like here.
Whoa.
So yeah, I'm full of energy right now. Full of
Good.
love.
See, that's why it's nice to have a co-host because like by myself, I might be like, hi guys.
Well, it looks like we have
welcome.
Looks like Pumpkin's trying to be the co-host right now. So
I know. Oh,
there you go.
Pumpkin.
Yeah. So we'd like to welcome everybody out there. Thank you for coming. You have something special stuff coming on. A little bit of poetry, a little bit of music, a little bit of vibrations for healing vibrations out there. So close your eyes and calm yourself, or calmate, tranquilo, as they say. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm using a different voice, more meditative voice today, so I'm gonna really put it out there. Yes, or sleepy voice. Yeah, yeah. So, and we'd like everybody to comment or ask questions today. We took a couple of weeks off, kind of here and there. So, but we're back. We had to what do you call it? Energize each other,
re-energize, replenish. Reassociate, refurbish ourselves.
Yes.
I'm in a new outfit, no longer in the chicken suit.
Ah.
Were we gone 2 weeks or were we just gone 1 week?
We were gone a week, and then we were gone a week. We came back a week, and we're gone a week.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. According to my crow feathers, because
Counts. That's how you count time. It's not a calendar anymore. It's just like how many slivers of the feather are we in the year?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, I like it.
So how is everybody doing out there? We would love for you to comment and tell us what are you doing,
Yeah.
how you're doing, how you're feeling. We're going to go to a little bit about the 4 agreements. I think what are personally affected us. And when Melissa and I talked about that, I read it a long time ago, and some things stuck with me, and then I re-listened to it again. So I would I would suggest. I mean, if I hear something when I'm sleeping, I will dream about it and I will live in it. So maybe it's not to listen to it while you're sleeping, because it will take you on an adventure. So
It's interesting
yeah,
that you say that, because there is the part in the 4 agreements when the author talks about how we're really dreaming all the time, that
yeah,
when we're asleep, we sort of know we're dreaming and there aren't any rules. And so it's more evident. But then when we're awake, we're actually in a dream and we just don't know it. So it's interesting that you listened to this while you were sleeping, because your brain was probably like, what? What is
yeah.
happening?
Well, I had dreams about both of my mothers, so it was a strange dream that she was taking care of my other mother, and they're all taking care of me. So that was
Mm,
that was kind of the gist of the
wow.
dream. I dream a
When
lot.
was that dream?
Yeah, a couple days ago. So because I wanted to re-listen to the 4 agreements, and I do have to say that the president is 0 for 4 in the 4 agreements.
Oh, yeah. I don't think he's read it. I
No,
don't
I
think
was
he's
like,
read very many books.
no, but I'm saying, like, if you read them, you're like, okay, 0 for 4. He doesn't do
Hmm.
any of them. So,
You can kind of
but
you can measure them against people that like, oh, yeah, this person's pretty good about impeccable. I know, the first agreement is be
yeah,
impeccable with your word, which we'll go over those in
yeah,
detail. But it does make you think of politics, because in this moment, we're in an election year. So it's definitely more harried than even a normal craziness in America. Yeah, it makes you think about the words that we use. And yeah, I don't know if we're diving into that yet. I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear how you're doing. So if anyone is watching, share a feeling or a highlight from your week.
Chris is
Chris
leaving.
is
We'll be back.
leaving.
We'll be
Okay.
back.
And
See?
that's what happens when I say I want to
Yeah.
hear from you guys. Chris has got to
So,
go get his beer and his peanuts. We already know
yes,
he's gathering snacks.
that's right. So we're gonna go into a song, let everybody get relaxed into their center, and we'll come back and we'll talk more. So we'll give you time to get your Cali cocktail. I have mezcal today. I'm rejuvenated. Got my
Nice.
little thing. So,
Old
um,
school.
actually, a friend of mine, Nico, brought me one from Mexico City, but which is at the studio. This one is from Oaxaca. It's called, the brand is called Oaxaca, but it's a juice. I can since I won't be there, I have to fill my other ways of getting to Oaxaca. So,
Oh my gosh, I just realized that we're gonna have to, and I'm sure you probably already thought about this, we're gonna have to have some special Cali cocktail hours leading up to
yeah,
Dia de los Muertos. I always
yeah.
get it wrong, but I just feel like
No, you
that
did.
that could be
Yeah.
so
Well,
cool.
you saw Leela on the show. She had her face painted. So she's already face painting herself and getting there. So,
Oh my gosh, she's
would
so
you like to
talented.
listen to a vocal song or a beat song?
Let's get some beat. I feel like we need some energy.
This song is called Feel Good. And we'll be back, everybody. Welcome to Cali Cocktail. We love you. We're glad you're here. There's Cha-Cha Whispers out there. Amanda Spence, John Walker. I thought you'd like it, Amanda. Just the breakdown. Mr. Matt is here. Come on, pumpkin, dance. Hello. Welcome. Hello.
Hi, Vern. By the way, note to everyone, don't put on chapstick and then pet the cat. Ugh. Gross. We're getting some tower love in here. Is that Ashley? Kitty.
Ashley's yet. I was hounding her before the show.
Nice.
This is the breakdown. Welcome to Cali, everybody. 88.7. Blood of Zacatecas. Life, spirits. We're here for you. In the healing hour and the calming hour.
Ooh, I like that. And the witching hour. Mm.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, it's Michael. He looks familiar.
Yeah.
I think I have fathered a child with that man.
Yeah, I know him.
He's just watching for pumpkin. He's like,
Yeah.
what are the cats doing downstairs?
Yeah.
I'm so happy to see all these faces. Hi, everybody.
Yeah. How's everybody? You guys miss us? Oh, Chris is back. Did you get your drink?
Chris is back. Yeah, what were you doing? How dare you leave us, Chris?
Yeah, the high-tech power. So thank you everybody for joining us. And we like to play a song. We got some action going. Hold on. You do.
I don't remember what I said.
LOL. I know, that's what I'm saying. I think everybody's LOLing it right now. And so we do have a premiere video from Matt, Christy Lou, and I texted him today and talked to him, see if I could play the show. But it's this it's a premiere on Cali Cocktail. He was here 3 weeks ago last time?
Yeah, I think he was
so yeah. So we are gonna go and
oh my gosh, the video is so awesome too. Are we doing it right now?
No, we're gonna do it in a second. Let's talk a little bit.
No, Matt, you're gonna have to wait. So I know
Omar
is
Omar is working and enjoying Cali Cocktail.
Oh, okay, nice.
So
we'll try to be audibly entertaining then.
Yeah.
And Omar, since you work the cat, I feel like you would appreciate my cat is making lots of appearances.
Yeah. And the original context of Cali Cocktail was a concoction that I made to create artwork. So it was California style of red wine and greeneries that were grown in the garden. So that was the what do you call it?
Was that like the visual inspiration?
Yeah, well, it got me mellow enough to, so I wouldn't like jump off the walls and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, this is it. Red wine and green bud. That's perfect.
Green. Oh, okay. You know what? You have to go. He's too intense of a lover. I cannot focus. He's like ramming into me. Oh my goodness.
I think that's illegal, Omar.
Yeah.
I don't know. What does JK mean?
Really?
Oh, yeah.
He's just joking.
Yeah.
JJ means just joshin'. JK means just joking.
Just joshin', yeah. And so because we have all this cat action, we might as well go for the sentimental.
The
so as I was on my walk, I usually, walk around, and this was in East Sac today, and went by 2 signs were big signs. So if you see this kitty, please call. And we are going to have our little kitty segments if we, take pictures and we walk around. So if anybody has any lost
missing
pets,
kitties, missing doggies, So
Missing
whenever you walk
squirrels.
by and your heart speaks to you and says, you know, I feel like I should share this missing animal sign, you
And this
should
is
do it.
him.
And this one spoke to you, Ruben. Fletcher.
Do you want to read that?
So for 14-year-old Kitty is missing. His name is Fletcher. He's black and white. Please call. And then there's a number on the screen. Unless you're driving, I'm sure you can see that. And this was in East Sacramento. So
Yeah.
anyone who lives near East Sac or that area, keep your eyes open. Ask someone that has lost kitties, and then sometimes even had them return. It's like the best feeling in the world and the worst feeling when they're missing.
So
So I
that's
love this new segment of ours.
yeah. So that's
Yeah.
916-539-2737, and that's Fletcher with a F, not a PH.
That
So
would be an
hopefully
interesting
they'll
way to
find
spell your
Fletcher.
cat's
Yeah,
name.
there was 2 big signs, so I don't think they found Fletcher yet because they're actually pretty big signs. So, all right,
No.
yeah. So we'll go.
So hopefully Fletcher comes home soon.
Let's see. Hi,
Colleen.
how you doing, Colleen? How's it going? Glad to see you here. Let me take that off real quick. Yeah.
It's so good to see you.
So, how is everybody out there? And like I said, we were going to talk about some of the 4 agreements. Like, which one would you? Which one does emote to you the most?
For me?
Yeah, and everybody else out there.
Let's go over them really fast because I'm sure there's people
Okay.
watching who like probably haven't read it before.
Yeah.
So the 4 agreements is a book. Pumpkin, I swear to God, he is just ramming into my computer over and over. So I'm going to read them one by one.
Yeah.
And these are sort of like agreements to live by. A Practical Guide to Personal Freedom is a self-help book by best-selling author Don Miguel Ruiz with Janet Mills. Okay, so the book offers a code of conduct based on ancient Toltec wisdom that advocates freedom from self-limiting beliefs that may cause suffering and limitation in a person's life. So here they are. They're pretty simple. Like each of them are very simple, and I'll read the definition. The first one is be impeccable with your word. Speak with integrity. Say only what you mean. Avoid using the word to speak against yourself or to gossip about others. Use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. The second agreement, don't take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality, their own dream. When you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. The third agreement, don't make assumptions. Find the courage to ask questions and to express what you really want. Communicate with others as clearly as you can to avoid misunderstandings, sadness, and drama. With just this one agreement, you can completely transform your life. And the last agreement, always do your best. Your best is going to change from moment to moment. It'll be different when you're healthy as opposed to sick. Under any circumstance, simply do your best and you will avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and regret. And that is the conclusion of the 4 agreements. So yeah, they're very simple ideas. And for anyone who's read it, which I feel like a lot of you probably have because it is such a cornerstone book for like self-work, but I revisit these a lot. And I know that we used to talk about them in the restaurant a lot. I think that in customer service, it's really easy for that to like, don't take anything personally. Like they're not tipping, doesn't mean it's about you. Or, you know, don't assume. There's just so many, really it always applies in life. But yeah, I want to ask you this first. Which agreement resonates the most with you?
I think that in this time, you know, with so many things going on and people acting, you know, people anxious and they're just not themselves. And I think it's don't take sorry, don't
I
take it
hear it.
personally. Yeah.
It's in there.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I think that there's a lot of not miscommunication, but misguided communication, right? Where you like don't know what's going on. And then, you know, with everything going on, everything's heightened. So it is, you know, you look at things and you do take it personally, right? You do is like, oh shit, you know, like Chris said right here, super good advice for social media. Yeah, that's that's one thing too. It's like, you know, did they mean that about me, or did they say that about, you know, in some weird way? You're like looking at it, and I think just in general, as with people who are a little bit, we talked about today, you know, like sometimes people are a little bit aloof, and that's only because there's, you know, they're stressed out about something else or something, you know, something that's going on at work, and they just can't get back to you, or, because I internalize a lot. So I also create sometimes situations in my head, like, what did I do? Or, or I just think that's just something that's when you care about people, you do that. And, but sometimes, like I said, it's at this point, I think that's going to be a hard one to do, or a hard one to realize that you can't take it personally.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that that's probably my most resonant one too, which by the way, I don't know if people are commenting, but I'd love to hear from anyone out there if there is one of these that really resonates with you that you hold particularly close, and or why. But yeah, I definitely think not taking things personally is, I think it also just fits my personality well because I'm someone who is just so sensitive. And something I love about revisiting this book, I actually didn't remember he took this angle, the author, but that taking everything personally is also this expansion of self. It's like this extreme self-centeredness. And sometimes remembering that making it about me, even if it's like, oh, did I make them upset? You're being all about you, Melissa.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, I bet, they thought I was like, it's really easy to do that in so many situations, but for better or for worse, it's thinking about yourself a lot. So I think that
Yeah.
whenever we have a reminder that people are in their own world and it's not about us.
Yeah.
So Amanda said, embracing, not taking anything personally has really taken a lot of grief out of my life. So good. I think that's a really good way to put it because it is grief, right? When you're, as I think the definition was talking about, like suffering needlessly. And I mean, there's already enough suffering in life of like actual things that happen and then making them about us or making them more than they might be. So yeah, definitely cuts down on the grief for sure.
Yeah, it makes me want to. We talked about this earlier, like what, what's like your parents taught you wrong. Remember all the stuff that we're talking about. But I'm gonna actually play the video from the four agreements, right? Yeah,
Okay.
their website. They kind of actually made a little video for themselves, but it doesn't go into it, but it shows you kind of what an overall view of it. So let me play that, and we can. It's only a couple minutes, so
Awesome.
yeah. So we'll go to that.
What you are seeing and hearing right now is nothing but a dream. You're dreaming right now in this moment. You're dreaming with the brain awake. Before we were born, the humans before us created a big outside dream that we will call society's dream, or the dream of the planet. The dream of the planet includes all of society's rules, its beliefs, its laws, its religions, its different cultures and ways to be, its governments, schools, social events, and holidays. The outside dream has so many rules that when a new human is born, we hook the child's attention and introduce these rules into his or her mind. As children, we didn't have the opportunity to choose our beliefs, but we agreed with the information that was passed to us from the dream of the planet via other humans. I call this process the domestication of humans. We trust what we believe, and our beliefs set us up for suffering. In the dream of the planet, it is normal for humans to suffer, to live in fear, and to create emotional dramas. Our personal dream can also become an ongoing nightmare, where we suffer and live in a state of fear. But we don't need to dream a nightmare. It is possible to enjoy a pleasant dream. There are thousands of agreements you have made with yourself, with other people, with God, with society, with your parents, with your spouse, with your children. But the most important agreements are the ones you made with yourself. In these agreements, you tell yourself who you are, what you feel, what you believe, and how to behave. One single agreement is not such a problem, but we have many agreements that make us suffer, that make us fail in life. If you want to live a life of joy and fulfillment, you have to find the courage to break those agreements that are fear-based and claim your personal power. When we're finally ready to change our agreements, there are 4 very powerful agreements that will help us break those agreements that come from fear and deplete our energy. You need a very strong will in order to adopt the 4 agreements. But if you can begin to live your life with these agreements, the transformation in your life will be amazing.
Nice. I knew I recognized that voice, Peter Coyote. I have to just note that when we were talking about the agreement of drinking alcohol, Ruben was like, "Oh, let me take a look."
I agreed. I actually agreed that tonight. So
I do
yeah.
agree to that.
It was a little intense in the beginning, but it came out into this, this hurrah. Climb that mountain, it's raining, it's so cool. Climb the mountain. So
It's raining men. You can decide it's raining. You can make that agreement.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like I said, there's a lot, and I could really agree with some of that stuff too. Is like it is. I think as Peter Coyote is reading that, and I have the audio book of it. And one thing he always talks about, and I don't know if it's in the book itself, but it's about the time the little girl was singing a song, and she's singing at the top of her lungs, and her mom came in like, I don't like, stop
Her mom
singing.
has a headache. Her mom just has like independent of her, had a rough day, had a bad headache.
Yeah.
And then she says like, I forgot if she says you're a bad singer or just like, ew, I hate it when you sing, but it was because she has a headache. But the little girl just came away from that with, oh, I shouldn't sing. I'm a bad singer. That's an agreement.
Yeah. And she's kept that with for most of her life, she kept that with her, and some of that stuff, I think, we all keep that with, even if like we get in trouble for something, right? We get reprimanded for something. Sometimes it sticks with us for a long time. So, that's one thing. So, yeah. So, but sorry, the mescal gas, the fumes. But what's the other one that you can relate to on that one then too?
I think that the one that I also think is really, really important, and he emphasizes this, is be impeccable with your word, because that is something, and the way that like that is explained in the book, which I didn't read that chapter today, so it's been years, but what always stood out to me was a lot of it comes down to gossip and honesty. Like, I mean, the first part of it is being truthful, like only speaking the truth. But the second part is, I remember, if I remember correctly, he even talked about even speaking kindly of people. Not that he said don't speak kindly of people, because that sounds like a weird thing to say, but kind of asking yourself always like, why am I talking about this person? What is my motive? What am I trying to do here? And usually as people, when we're talking about someone negatively, it's to bond with the person that we're with, or to commiserate, to get sort of validation, like, yeah, this person sucks, right? Whether it's Donald Trump or like your coworker or whoever. And we've talked about this topic, I think, or I've just talked about it with my people a lot. I do think there's also a line between shit talking and venting. Like there is the need for that in our relationships. But anyway, so I'm going off a little bit on this one, but this one's huge. And I think when I started to become more mindful of, it's not a good look. Like, I don't care how much I feel wronged. I'm talking more personal relationships.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really trust friends that talk a lot of shit about other people to me. Like, I remember that growing up, my mom was like, if people are talking that way about them, why wouldn't they talk like that about you? And I got that, but I think growing up and really reading this book and like internalizing that's a really big one for me, is trying to keep how do people say that? I don't know, just keep that kind of stuff out of my mouth, because I don't want to be responsible for spreading poison, and I'm not perfect at that either. I remember learning that part of how human language evolved was literally to talk shit. It was like part of what kept, I feel like we've talked about this.
Yeah.
Part of what kept tribe functioning is being able to say, see that person? He stole my, I don't know, my logs for my fire. Don't trust him or something. And I loved reading that because it kind of like gave us all a little bit of a reprieve from just feeling like terrible people that want to talk badly about each other. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, it's biologically in us, but we have this prefrontal cortex that has developed and we don't need to do that anymore. And yeah. So Amanda said, I struggle with this one because sometimes I just got to vent about my day. It may be different from gossip, but I'm not sure. I think this is a really good point. And it's actually a question I like to ask people is like, because I do think there's a need for venting. And that's a lot of why
Yeah.
therapy and coaching and good friendships, like solid support exist. But where is the line? Where is the line between, I have to get this off my chest. Here's what happened. I call it analyzing sometimes, like, this is what happened in this situation. And when does that become toxicity and spreading poison? And I'm interested before I give my take, if anyone else has their perspective on that. And Ruben, if you have an idea of like where that line is for you.
Well, I think there is something about venting. You have to vent about your day. You can't just hold it in, pretend something didn't happen or if it was your fault or not. It's something is different than actually, like you said, talking shit about somebody, right? You're just like saying, you're stating the facts, you need to get it out. I think it's unhealthy to keep it in, myself. So I don't think it's gossip. I think that, there's a fine line though, when it becomes gossip, but as long as it's venting and, you're not doing
When does it become
maliciously.
gossip though? Okay,
I
so
think
malicious.
I think when it becomes more malicious, when you're trying to talk about somebody or you're trying to get a rise out of somebody or it's gonna. I mean, we've all, I mean, are guilty of saying something like, "Oh shit, I shouldn't have said that." I'm like, and it's when you cross the line. You can feel it. You're like that person, blah blah blah. It's like and then that's my coworker. Oh shoot. And you get personal sometimes, right? And it's a natural thing, but sometimes I think you'll feel it when you're crossing that line, but there is nothing wrong with venting. I think that's just human nature. So you can't go against nature. So
Well, you can.
I mean, you
but
can.
I agree. Like, I definitely think that there is a space. I don't know if you can hear Pumpkin grooming himself next to me. There's like hair flying across my face.
Well, Pumpkin's
I think that venting is super important. And I like to ask myself, and I think this takes practice too, like kind of like a muscle. I think at first it can feel really easy to think everyone deserves to be the subject of this vent. But I think an important thing to ask ourselves is, who am I talking to? Like, if it's a trusted partner or friend or someone that's like removed from the situation, I think often that's a distinguishing factor for me, is like, I'm not convincing someone that's also friends with this person that I wouldn't try and say, oh, they're a bad person, but like, I'm not trying to get someone on my side or get them to hate someone. I think that's more venting, is like, this is what happened. It's great if you don't even know this person. And I also think, like you said, Ruben, trying to change them, the way that they feel. Maybe I'm saying this twice, but change the way this person that I'm talking to feels about another. I think that's character assassination, like, hate this person with me. And then finally, I think the maybe I'm just saying the same thing a few times, but it makes sense in my head that it's separate. The motivation, like, am I motivated by this? Like, it feels poisonous. Like, that's what Chris is saying. Actually, it looks like in this comment. I think the intention behind the sharing is important to discern. Yeah, is it like, I'm going to make you hate this person? Or because I do think, and Ruben, you and I have talked a lot about this, I think it is really important to unpack things with people that you trust and kind of even be curious around it. Like, this situation happened. And you know what? Oh, that's the last thing I was going to say. I also have to be conscious of who I'm talking to, because, which I said at the beginning, but I think some people that I know and love are very quick to say, oh, they suck. They're a bad person. And it's like, no, they don't suck. I'm just mad at them. I just want to vent. Like, we're just venting right now. So I think too, if I know talking to someone who makes very abrupt judgments, which a couple people in my family friends circle do, then it's like they're not the person to vent to, because I don't really want them. Like, also too, a lot of the times the whole point of this book is to recognize you're living in a dream, and to put that kind of like plant our feet on the ground with that. It's like to say that the way I see things isn't necessarily the way things are. So I think being aware of, am I talking to someone who also has that awareness that this is my perspective and not the truth? And if so, it's like a little bit safer to just, but yeah, venting is important. Definitely.
And if anybody out there has any venting questions or, things that they've done, because it is true, I do question myself a lot sometimes. I'm like, was that necessary, or should I have done that? Because you're right. If you say it to the wrong person, they'll take that. Or if they have something against that person, they'll, you worked at, we all worked at restaurants. So there's like, everybody's around us. Right. So,
oh yeah.
It's drama. It's
That's
like chaos. It's
the
chaos.
end of
Love.
the day.
Yeah.
You're like, who do we hate?
It's like when Amanda and Matt are sharing the Buddha Azteca. Right, this right here. See, Amanda.
It's also basically sharing a pie of hate.
Yeah. No, but yeah. So if anybody out there has any questions too, because I know that there's a lot out there too, and like right now, like I said, we're in that spot where things get personal because we don't have interaction with anybody, so there's not like you can see their face or you can see anything. It's more like a text. It's more like a social post, and so you can't see people's faces. You can't see what they're emoting, and you may take it personally a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
I mean, I was what's HMH or something? No, SMH. I'm like, what does that mean? I don't know. I'm confused. I'm
figure
pissed.
it out?
Yeah.
How dare they?
How dare they 3-letter me?
You know
Whatever.
what it means now.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. I was like, let's make sure we don't leave this undone.
Yeah.
It means Satan makes happy
hair.
meals.
There you go. See?
Satan makes hair. Yeah.
So, hi, Sheris. How you doing?
Sheris, we need you to finish your thoughts. Oh,
She did.
Okay. I thought she only had I need to.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what? You need to what?
Well, it is true that I reread. I was listening. Okay, it's strange because it is very like those 4 agreements right there are very like prevalent right now in society right now. It's just different. It's a different view. It's almost like you watch some reality TV from April, right? Do we close that in March? Oh yeah, sorry. So February, right? It's like, oh yeah, it's all this, really superficial stuff. And at that point, we're like, yeah, that's cool. Everybody's like, this is entertainment, right? This is entertainment. This is great. And then we hit the pandemic, and people are depressed and people are sad, and it's like, now that looks just like silly. It's like, why did we watch that? That was just like garbage for and we were just going so fast. Now we're slowed down. Now we see, what the difference between things are, right? And so I think everything kind of has a different meaning, more of a deeper meaning now than it used to than 5 months ago, because we've all slowed down and we've seen everything around us. Ashley has a good one right here.
Ashley said, I think sometimes you vent in order to understand why a specific situation affects you, and needed to process it by talking to someone. I definitely vent, but I don't have ill wishes for others. It's important to keep perspective and understand why people do what they do. I'm rambling. No, that's actually a really great way to put it. I think understanding like that is the root of venting. And I can say, as someone that knows you, that I feel that, like, if I could step outside and like, it's evident, right? That I think that you can unpack and understand a situation without, I always just go back to character assassination. And there is a big difference. So yeah.
Well,
motivation, man.
It's very telling that we're listening to some Toltec language. I mean, Toltec history and thought. And they were, I read a little bit about them today. It's like, well, because they're from Mexico. They're very mysterious. They disappeared, like, but yet we're here discussing it and the thoughts. So it's to me, it's like, wow, you look at some of the stuff, you're like, oh wow, we're on the computers. We're on, the computers. I'm sorry, I sound like a We're on the internets.
On that talking screen.
Someone looking at us funny. But it's really strange that way back then. I mean, we're talking about, about, I don't know,
1,000.
10 years ago. No, a long time ago. Like this was, this was, probably how they kind of made everything right. And so, but it's
I think
just
that's actually a really good point, because I think what you're saying is that these agreements extend. I mean, they were written probably 20 years ago at this point, and they feel so potent and important now, and they were dreamt up or thought of by this people 1,000 years ago, and in 100 or 1,000 years, they'll probably, if we're still here, if we haven't completely destroyed the planet, they'll probably still be applicable, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, that's one thing I do agree with everybody. You should reread it because it is interesting now. Like when I was listening to it, it is totally different from what it was. So that's one of my favorite saying, character assassination.
So I actually have these. Favorite things. I wanted to show you. I feel like I showed you these back when we worked together, but I would keep them in the break room, and they're 4 agreement cards, and you can like pick a card and just say like, what do I need to read today? So I thought it could be fun to pick some cards. But what I was going to say when you were talking about how at the beginning of the pandemic, or just let's even go to like the beginning of the year versus now, this is just such a big year where so much has happened and so much is still happening. And one of the agreements is don't make assumptions. And I think that's my next favorite. We're going in order of my favorites, because ultimately, like, not making assumptions is, I don't know what other people are thinking. Even if I think if you did that, you must be thinking this. Really, I don't know that. So unless I've actually asked you or clarified with you. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because I'm thinking about mask wearing and how that became this political thing a couple months ago. Because remember at the beginning, obviously the very beginning, we were told not to wear masks, but the pandemic wasn't politicized at first. For like a very brief moment, everyone was like, whoa, what the fuck? We're all in a pandemic. It's all happening together. But then it became this like assumption, especially in the more red areas, which are in California too, that if you're wearing a mask, then you must be a sissy. And if you're not wearing a mask, Brene Brown did this whole segment on this in Texas, that it became this, it became an assumption thing, assuming you know what someone's either political beliefs are or just who they are based on them wearing a mask, and how that's not okay. That like, really, there's all sorts of reasons people do or don't. And it's just a really good example of why we can't make assumptions.
Yeah, and I think a lot of us are guilty of that too. Making assumptions, and I mean, even with couples, right? Someone's quiet, and you're assuming that you did something wrong, or or vice versa. It's one of those things that people do a lot of. I mean, I know I try not to, and I try to remind myself, like, do not assume what the other person is trying to tell you, or what their actions were. But then that goes with, don't take it personally, So
yeah,
so they got to kind of be combined together to figure some of the stuff out.
Yeah.
So, and before we go on, we have the premiere of Matt's video, and Chrissy Lou is about his mother who passed away. I wish he had, was on here to talk about it, and tell what it was about. But we had Matt on here playing the other night live, and it was beautiful. And so we're going to go to it right now, and then we'll come back, and then we'll go to the third agreement, right?
Sure.
What it's called? Yeah. So pick your agreement. Pick your card, actually. Pick your card.
Did you just call me Ashley?
No, I said actually.
Oh. Okay.
Hi, Matthew's mom. I just wanted to check in and see what's shaking. Love you very much, son. Bye.
I was taking back the time when I came into this life. We were young and we were free, living in a world of make-believe. One direction facing up, one decision filled a cup. As we trudged along the road, living life in full, it's all we knew. And now I'm standing here alone, wondering where the time is gone. Yet this light that's in my heart came from all your love. And the words of Christy Lou, I'd do anything for you. I'm alive today, I'm in touch today. Hey you, hey you, it's Christy Lou. Jolting Joe's in the eye, planting gardens, making art. Jolty never skipped a beat, always landing on his feet. It's all he knew. And now I'm waiting by the phone, hoping maybe you would call. You were always one to say, it'll be okay. In the words of Christy Lou, I'd do anything for you. I'm alive today, I'm in touch today. Hey you, hey you, it's Christy Lou. I'm alive today, I'm in touch today. Hey you, it's Christy Lou. Hey you, it's Christy Lou.
It's your mom. I just wanted to tell you, with all that's happened in Las Vegas, I'm very grateful that you and Marty are okay and alive and kicking, and I'm very grateful to have the two of you, and I don't take it for granted. Bye.
I'm crying. That's such a sweet video.
That is a sweet video. We love you, Matt, and thank you for sharing
Oh my
a
God.
song about your mom. She seemed like a
And
very
like
sweet woman.
recordings
Yeah.
and videos from their childhood, and you just see them as babies. What is this? Matt, I cried when he sang it on the show too. For one, I just love Matt so much, and I know he is such a like earnest creator. And it's just such a beautiful video. So
Yeah.
how do we support him? Aren't we supposed to take people somewhere or tell them to go?
Well, I would go to
something?
his website, and actually, Matt, can you type in, if you're there, if you're out there, is anybody out there, Matt? Type in your URL or your YouTube page, so you can go there and watch it. I think that was the one too. And it is a beautiful song. And thanks, Matt, for sharing your heart with us. That's a pure heart song, and you can tell, and we love you. I'm okay to tell guys I love them. So
That's why we love you, because you're an example of non-toxic masculinity and the loving.
What does that mean? Is it the Crow Feathers?
It is. It is. I always think of Matt around Chalk It Up, because Matt usually sings. Oh, he's here. I didn't think he was here anymore. He usually sings at Chalk It Up, and I'm just like, again, I remember when he was on the show, and I was like, gosh, I remember watching him live. I'm just gonna like X me out of this screen. If I leave, I promise I'll be back, because he's just making love to my computer right now. But just how much I miss that. I can't wait for that again. And in the meantime, it's so nice to.
And Ashley said that was beautiful. Melissa can't stop crying, so.
Yeah, we need another co-host.
Matt said, "Sunshine, thank you, heart." I think, is that what it is? Or no, wait, hold on. Smiley face, 2 hands clapping, and an upside down butt.
I love this.
Yeah.
An upside down butt.
Okay.
This is a great example of how you can't take things personally because people see things as they are, not as they are. As we are, not as they are.
Yeah.
All right, what's our third agreement?
Hola,
Betty's
Betty.
here. Hi, Betty.
Betty is going to
One.
give me some poetry. I told you about that too already.
I'm
So
excited for that.
she can videotape. Well, videotape. Why do I keep saying videotape? There's no videotape anymore.
I think you've been like inhabited by your 1989 self tonight.
Yeah, I think so. I am buying. I told my Melissa that I want black lipstick. It's because I want to portray as a beak, but a beak of love, a beak of
Oh, a
love.
beak.
Yeah. So
Oh, cool.
Ashley's
Oh,
crying too. Everybody's crying, Matt. And
Matt.
Matt said, "LOL." I don't know if he's crying. He's laughing because everybody's crying or what. Is this just
Thanks, Matt. He's all, ha ha.
Yeah.
I've got your emotions going, which is really good. Very cleansing. I watched the video earlier and I still am very moved by it. Because I think that it also speaks to like the timelessness of family and the fleetingness of everything that, especially as a mother of a young baby, which I know Ashley is too, so she might have had the same moment, and people who have all lost parents. You see this young mother and her little baby and knowing that's you, and now you're like all grown up and singing about her as an adult. It just kind of really gets the circle of life stuff going.
So you can click on Matt's YouTube page on it. I think it's a clickable link, so you might want to copy and paste that too. It's Control C, Control V, copy, paste. Thought I wasn't that smart, huh?
That's how copy and paste work.
That's right. It's
I
called
remember
shortcuts.
when my grandma first got a computer, and I don't know what year it was. For years after that, she had something I had written out about like how to copy and paste. That was like the thing I taught her, and it would like sit on her bulletin board.
Really big letters.
Yes, very big, amplified letters. So yeah, should we move on to our third agreement?
Yeah, well, I think you should pick a card and read it.
Pick a card, any card, because we've kind of already talked about 3 agreements. The only one we haven't talked about is doing your best. So Ruben, tell me when to stop.
Ready? Go for it. No, I didn't say stop.
I didn't stop.
Go ahead, stop.
Going. You can.
Oh, okay. See.
Okay. Don't make assumptions. Relinquish the need to change others. And we have a nice picture of 2 dogs. Real love is accepting other people the way they are without trying to change them. What? No, that's what you're supposed to do is you try and change them. Just kidding. If we try to change them, this means that we don't really like them. It's easier to find someone who is already the way you want him or her to be instead of trying to change that person. This is why I want to just pull Don Miguel Ruiz, is he still alive? Because last I heard he was very sick a couple years back. But I want to be like, okay, that sounds like a good idea, find someone that's already the way you want them to be. But then people change. And then when they change and they say, don't do the litter box when you ask them to. I'm just kidding. This is a hard one because ultimately I'm joking. I don't really think it's our job to change others, but I think in recognizing that whenever we're like nagging or complaining or finding issue with people, that it can be viewed as that, you see how difficult this one is.
I think that I think sometimes when there is things that may be at that point of it might be true, it might not be true, things change, right? And it is let me go to Matt's role first and then we'll go back to he said no one can replace your mama, right? They can't, so so Matt, Melissa and I, we're in that same club too, the We Lost a Mom club.
And I know other people watching too have shared that. So
yes,
I think definitely. I think that's part of why it tugs so hard at the heartstrings. But it's such a great.
So changing someone, Ashley said that is a tough one. Yes.
Or you could love with the understanding that they may change. Yeah. And ultimately, I guess that's the goal, really, because even as people, like, I remember that was one of the things I put on my ideals list. I highly recommend if you're single, making an ideals list. And it's like the qualities you would want in a person. And you list them all. And then ultimately, you ask yourself, am I displaying those qualities? Like, am I confident? Am I kind? Am I open to change? And one of the things I put on there is openness. Like, you want someone who will grow and evolve and
You know, I
grow
was gonna
with you, grow
yeah,
beside you.
and I was gonna say that there's a difference between changing and evolving, because I think I've evolved, from when I first started with Melissa. I was like a wild animal, running around, yeah, alley cat style, chasing squirrels, chasing squirrels up the trees. No, but I think that that you do change and you do evolve. There's things that especially like for someone who, and for guys who don't have a strong male, I should say strong male, but just a male, sensitive male, like telling them what to do, or or teaching them. Men have different ways of having to deal with stuff, and fathers aren't the best in communicators. And so you have to learn to change by yourself. You have to learn to evolve by yourself, and sometimes, it does help a lot to find someone that will be patient with you as you do, because sometimes you got to go, no, get out of here, done.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that this one is so important and also like really hairy, as in like it is probably a key indicator in what makes a relationship work is not trying to change the other person all the time. It's like, number one, love them the way that they are. And kind of like all of these agreements, we live in this dream/world that like the practice of that, and maybe that's a good thing to touch on. It's a practice. It's like you don't make these agreements and then suddenly you're like, oh, I never talk shit and I just accept everyone and like nothing is about me, because ultimately life is way more hairy. That's my word of the night. Hairier than that. You keep practicing it, and hopefully you're with someone that'll practice it with you too.
Yes. Anybody out there have any questions or comments on that? Because I think everybody's been in a relationship where like, this is not going to work. This person's not going to change. No matter what I do, I try. No matter what angle I come from, it's just not working. And sometimes the combination just doesn't work. And I've had that happen in my life with people, and I think that the girlfriends in my life that I've had, the girlfriends, the ex-girlfriends, but they all, I still talk to them. We just didn't get, we just weren't right for each other. We, we became more friends afterwards, but sometimes you just don't, even someone gets hurt. Right. And, yeah.
Every relationship, LOL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
as far as thinking about like who we were trying to change, and yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense that if we were trying to change them, it probably didn't work. Oh, Betty's taking it personally.
number one. Yeah.
We hear your joke, Betty.
Yeah, it is, and Ashley says, story of my life.
Yeah, and that's, I guess, the beauty of experience too. Like, I remember when I was young, I don't think you can be young and date, at 16, 17 and not think, this is it. This is the one. Because why would you want to date that person if you didn't think it was something like really special that would last? But now that I'm, not a spring chicken anymore, I'm so grateful I dated a ton of guys. I'm just kidding. But I'm grateful for all those experiences, because they do show you the things that, speaking of not wanting to change people, like, okay, leave this person alone. Like, let him be really into, trying to think of a past relationship.
Oh, Matt said, progress, not perfection. She said perfection.
Was that autocorrect or was that on purpose? Progress, not protection.
Yeah.
Progress, not protection of your heart. What do you think? Should we pick another card?
Yes, pick another one.
Kind of fun, right? Okay, so you're gonna have to tell me when to stop again, Pumpkin. You're gonna have to calm down. It's not about you, Pumpkin.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm shuffling.
So how's everybody doing out there? I'm glad you're here. Cali Cocktail Hour. We're back, making you calm, making you think about stuff and let it out. So
not wanting to change you. Oh, okay. Let's see. Be impeccable with your word. Express your love. And here's the picture. Impeccability of the word can be measured by your level of self-love. Ooh, if you love yourself, you will express that love in your interactions with others. And that action will produce a like reaction. That is good. I think that is such a true point. If you love yourself, you'll express that love in your interactions with others. Because think about both the people that you know that talk a lot of shit, but even let's make it about us. The times in our lives, I think we've all probably been there when we've just been full of venom. We were probably not super in love with ourselves at that point. Like there was probably some fear or hurt or harm, right?
Yeah. And it's like, yeah, it's true. And because it is where you're coming from, right? It is like Betty says, every good experience teaches us something. No, every experience is good or bad teaches us something. And I had a lot of relationships where I like that. It's like, and then I learned how to get out of them. It was friendships wise too, like toxic ones and ones you can't help. And but someone said,
"Oh, you want to see Pumpkin?"
and
Pumpkin's
also,
having a bath, but I'm going to interrupt it. And oh my God, come here.
and
Sometimes he'll just read
it's always about Pumpkin.
It is always about Pumpkin because he's the most aggressive of my cats, as in loving, aggressively loving. Yeah. So, okay. Pumpkin, speak to me. Just
Yeah.
kidding. I was going to ask, you were just saying something. I got distracted with my cat. You were talking about in your past relationships and friendships, realizing when to let go. And also, like, I think that's such a good way to put it, that it's not like, oh, this person wasn't good enough, and so I left them. It's like, oh, we stopped trying to change them into someone that they're not. There's a huge thing in recovery that we talk about. And when you do this, like really honest inventory on yourself, usually when you get sober and then you just keep doing it over and over, you make lists of people that you have had issues with and resentments over, and anyone that we all go through life accumulating, like Trump supporters, or I don't know, my cousin who didn't call me for 4 years, or like, if you mine the inner cave, there's probably some stuff like that. But as you go really into this inventory, eventually you find your own part. And in most of these situations, not everyone. And often for me, a part that I had with people whom I resent and I need to like cleanse myself of, it was expecting them to be someone that they're not. And when we expect people to be people that they're not, whether it's to be punctual or to be kind, ultimately, if they're not that person, then we're trying to change them. And it kind of gets to the idea of, am I going back to the last one? I am. I'm going back to our last card, but I guess I feel very passionately about that one.
I'm sorry, I thought you were
Yeah.
chasing Pumpkin. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
well, let's go to the other one. What is next?
Another card?
Yeah, let's do
Or
one more
another.
card. Let's do one more card.
Maybe we should touch on the last agreement, just
okay.
in case we don't push it, just
Yeah.
in case we don't pull it.
Yeah.
And that is always do your best. What does always doing your best mean to you? Anyone welcome to answer this. That can be a tough one, especially for perfectionists. But like, what does it mean for you, Ruben?
For me, I mean, I'm always thinking I'm not doing my best. I mean, I'm always think I could do better, right? If I do an art piece, I'm like, I always brush it off. I'm like, no, the next one's going to be great. But I do try to do my best when I'm there, even if I'm feeling depressed, I put, and I know that was part of at least the book of it was like, even if you're not feeling good, you always just try. Right. And I do try all the time. And sometimes it hurts to try. And, you're going to fail in that perspective or do stuff. So all you can do is try, and put your best foot forward. But sometimes it's really hard to do that too, especially if you're a perfectionist.
Yeah, I imagine too, especially as a creator. And I say that as a writer, and I know that you're anyone who creates things, it's really easy to do that. Oh, it could be better. Let me edit it one more time. But yeah, I think that once again, it is practice, progress, not perfection. I almost said perfection.
Yeah.
And ultimately, like, I think being really honest with ourselves, I think I think the agreement of always do your best really rests on another agreement. And it's one that when I believe it, which I've never believed it more than I have in the last year. And it is basically that I am enough exactly as I am. As in, what I created today was, even if I think it could be better, like this is enough because this is what I could do today, whether it's cleaning or parenting or creation or civic action. I mean, you can insert what is your best. And I think if we're really honest with ourselves, we know when maybe it wasn't our best, like when we had a energy, but we decided to, I don't know, do something that wasn't particularly important to us instead of focus on what we love. But yeah, I think the idea of we are enough is like this really basic agreement that when you start to believe that, then you suddenly, okay, so if I'm enough exactly as I am, then that relationship wasn't supposed to work. Then that job, I wasn't supposed to get it. Then this person is the exact person I'm supposed to be speaking to because they're the one that's answering me. So Chris said, speaking as a perfectionist who never lives up to his own expectations, being my best is being as authentic as possible. Chris, I love that definition. I think that's a really great way to put it, because you can have these fantastic ideas of what you're capable of, and really being authentic and just being whatever you are right then and there. That's your best. I think I'm going to stick with that. That's a good definition.
I'm trying to think about what didn't I do to put my best lately, like, is there anything that you've done that you haven't really just kind of half-assed?
I haven't felt well lately. So I think that if anything, I'm being really compassionate with myself. Like my health hasn't been there. So the normal me would be like, yeah, I haven't put out a blog in 3 weeks. That's terrible. I'm supposed to blog weekly. Like that's my inner quota. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm my own boss. So it's like, if I don't do stuff, it doesn't get done. So I'm not really answering your question, but I think if anything, I've been trying to practice some compassion. You know what I'm not doing my best at? I'm not being very nice to Michael. I think that's my partner. It's really easy when I don't feel well to also be mean to the closest person to me that's in my little pod that I see all the time, that is just like, bears the brunt of my babiness.
Yeah.
So I think I can be compassionate with like my creative self and say I've not needed to do any better, but with my partner, I think I could. And he's not watching anymore. He's totally probably playing his video game at this point. Don't tell him I said that.
Yeah, I'm gonna change it. Yeah, I'm trying to think like myself too. Like, I'm sure there's some stuff that I really just went, I'm just gonna bypass it and stuff like that. But I also
you have to give us something now, because I just gave you something. So what is something you have not you've fallen short with lately?
Let's see. Maybe follow through with some situations with personal situations. I think like I just had to let them go. They took up a lot of energy, and usually I'm pretty good at like even chugging through those and figuring them out. And sometimes like that's been like, well, that's a lot. So I think that with some relationships, I just haven't been trying my best, and kind of just not concerned as much as I usually am concerned about people.
I think that's a really interesting point. And I'm not going to convince you that that's not true, but I also do wonder, I don't know. I also do wonder, sometimes it's like, where is your bet? I don't know. Cause I think as people pleasers and as lovers of people and friends, it can also be really easy to expect a lot of ourselves too. So, but what you're saying is I'm going to take you at your word, because you're being impeccable with your word, that you're saying these are friendships that are important to you and you feel like you haven't shown up the way you'd like to.
Yeah, I think I've just, I guess I just surrendered to some of them, that they're just going to be the way they're going to be, especially during this time. Like, like we talked about, don't take it personally, right? Because some people are going through so much stuff that you don't even know what they're going through, because everybody's isolated and everybody has their own stuff. So I guess, but I'm also not like pushing that through, right? I'm not pushing through on that is, so that part. And I guess I feel guilty. So then maybe that's tried it. So let me segue to this right here.
She was saved by, is it Charisse? Is that how I say it?
Sharis. No.
It's Sharis?
Yes.
Okay. Are you sure?
Well, now I'm just questioning myself again.
We always do this. Okay, so Sharis Charisse, please tell us which
Sure.
one
It's
of
not
us is
Charisse,
right.
it's Cherise. Yeah.
It is Cherise. Okay.
Yeah.
Cherise. This agreement is a tough one for determinists. We think everyone is always doing their best because you could do it no other way under the circumstances. I want to know what a determinist is. I actually don't know that off the top of my head. Is that like, I can guess it's someone who deterministic. I feel like this is something I studied and forgot about at some point.
I'll
Can
use
you
the
tell us
Google
what
right
that
now.
is? Okay,
I'm gonna use
thank
the
you.
Google.
Yes, because this sounds like a very good point. This agreement is a tough one. We think everyone is always doing their best because you could do it no other way under the circumstances. I can't imagine. I think too, you know what that is saying to me is not assuming, because if we were assuming, shares like Paris.
See, I told you.
Okay, I'm sorry. This
See?
is like the one time.
No, I
we
know.
it's
I mean,
right.
I've known her for but I just questioned myself for 1 second. I was like, I know, you know.
And my
Sorry,
work here is
Cherise.
done. I made you question
No,
yourself.
yes, you did. I'm like, for 1 second,
I'm sorry.
I wasn't doing my best right there.
But I think that with that, isn't that sort of also not assuming? Because if someone does something and you assume, this is a tough one though, because sometimes they could have done better. Oh, Donald Trump, I'm talking to you. Just kidding. I don't think you could have done better. Is it possible that whatever we do is the best we could do in that moment? I think what Chris is.
Yeah. No, I think that's what he was talking about too. Like, no matter what situation you're in, if that's what you can do and that's your best, then that's good enough. You know,
Yeah.
so even if you're not feeling good, even if you try, you know, even if you're not feeling mentally up to it, at least if you try something, then that is your best. You know, sometimes you don't have it all inside of you to do it. So I think that's what kind of the definition that, you know, he was talking about in the book too.
Yeah.
That you're not always gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. You know, some days don't feel like it, but you just try to do something and you try to do your best. You're not feeling well. And but in the moment, I think we all have those moments too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. I think that there's a lot I could say on that, but I feel like ultimately, really, we only have to decide what our best is, and that to me involves self-honesty and a clear idea of who we are in any given moment, because we're always changing. So, yeah.
I still want to know, Cherise, I want to know what a determinist is now.
Oh, I thought we were looking it up. Do you want me to
No, I
look
was
it up?
joking. I said the Google. When I say the in front of something, that means I'm joking.
Oh, I just scared the cat with that.
Would you read that one?
Is there a comment? Sorry, I'm looking up
Yeah.
determinist definition. Okay. Roberta said, "When I make art, I remind myself there are many right answers, and it gives me freedom to feel the path I choose," if that makes sense. Totally makes sense. Because I'm envisioning a path as you say that, and you're ultimately trusting that there is no right path. There's no right way to make that art. Or for me, there's no right way to make that blog. There's simply the way that we make it. And if we do it with our authenticity, as Chris said, then that's the way it was supposed to be. So,
And hello, Roberta. How you doing?
Hi, Roberta.
Did you find out what determinist was?
Okay. Yes. You want to hear it? Determinism. Yeah, I remember this in philosophy, which was like a long time ago, but very interesting. The doctrine that all events, including human action, are ultimately determined by causes external to the will. Some philosophers have taken determinism to imply that individual human beings have no free will and cannot be held morally responsible for their actions. Okay, so now that really makes sense in context, because going back to Cheris's comment, we think everyone's always doing their best because you could do it no other way under the circumstances. Which I mean, it makes sense, right? To say that we're influenced by external factors. And
what?
Huh? What? Why are you? How dare you interrupt me while I'm in this really?
It went over my head. That was my, what do you call it? Idiocracy moment.
Okay, so here's how I'm understanding it. Determinism is basically saying there is no free will. Everything is determined, and everything that we're doing is kind of predetermined based on our upbringing and our surroundings, our genetics, and so it's like if you put out a piece of shitty art, that's not your fault. That's what you could do because of all of the circumstances leading up to and around that. So that's like kind of I'm sure I'm not explaining it perfectly, but I think I live in this like juxtaposition of free will and determinism, where I do think, and this is considering that we live in a culture and a structure that people do come with different tool sets and not even ground whatsoever. But I think that there is, for me, like, whoa, this is why philosophy is hard for me, because my brain just shorts out. So
You have a chicken hat on right now, so
what if
that
I
might
took
be
it off and suddenly I was really wise
Yeah.
and clear?
Yes.
I think for me that there is this like interplay between believing that there are these kind of predetermined paths and the way things should be and are, and that we're free agents within them, and we're creating, just as Roberta said a couple minutes ago, that like if she chooses a path, she just chose that on her own free will and trust that that's the right one. So I think that we're constantly existing in this hopefully loving universe that is aligning, you know, lots of factors. I feel like you're about to laugh at me because, like,
No, I was
remember?
thinking about myself. It's like, well, being dyslexic, I always choose the wrong path. If that makes sense.
The wrong right path.
Yeah, there you go. That's what it say. Backwards.
I like it. I
Yeah.
like it.
So
Gosh darn it, Cheris. Now we're like, you're making my mind hurt right now. But it
Yeah.
is a really interesting idea.
Yeah.
And I'm butchering it. So should we do
hold
one more
on.
card, or do you have anything else that
That's perfect,
it
Sharon.
was
No, that was
interesting.
awesome. I loved
Yeah.
it. Yeah, that's what we like here. We like, that's why we like people asking and putting in comments, because we want it to go where it goes. And
Totally.
you get to the fork, right, of the road, and you take the left or the right. No?
Or the right wrong, or the right
Yes.
left.
Yeah, exactly. Dyslexic style. That's why I love it. And we'd like to thank everybody for coming out. We will be back here next Friday with Lynn Mayuba, who is an artist / she was a singer in a skirts and a very beautiful soul. You're going to love her. So I'll be back here next Friday with Cali Cocktail Hour. And we will continue right now with the last of the comments, and Melissa looking at flies. So
no, there's like, I think there's a bee in my house. How did it get in here? My cats are all looking at something and I didn't know what.
your cats will take care of it.
Actually, it looks like my cat is taking care of it.
Yeah.
I'm afraid it's a bee though. Are we ending, or can I chase my cat for a second?
You can chase your cat for a second.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to see if she has it. I don't want her to get stung by a bee.
Well, right now I'm gonna play a poem that is done from my friend Ruby. So it's a minute poem. So we'll get down there and then we'll come back with Melissa after she chats her chicken her.
Feels partly true, partly magical realism. Time stopped that day. The oaks outside the tunnel windows froze in that suspended position, with precision. I walked towards you and away from everything I had loved and everything I had ever known, everything familiar. I didn't have a good answer when people asked me what I was doing. Doing research, I said. Field work. In the days that followed, I found myself crying and laughing. Everything looked new. Everything looked whole. Magic followed terror, and terror followed magic. There they are, I thought to myself. Those wolf lips, those sharp, uneven teeth that growled the uncertainty of stolen boyhood. And on the other side of the straight face, I can breathe. There was an upside down world, a string theory. And in this dimension, I am wearing the matador's bolero. He was a poor hunter, but cream rises to the top, and everyone knows that hunger makes success. Time stopped that day. Who is the oaks outside the tunnel windows froze in that suspended position?
And we're back. And Melissa's still gone. Anyways, we went to a different reality, a different dream just now. So yes, and we're back now. Did you find the bee?
No, whatever it was, it's somewhere else in my house, but my cat doesn't have it anymore. So why just stinging my baby upstairs? No big deal. Why is my cat's okay? I'm kidding.
Yeah, and we'd like to thank everybody for coming out again. Like I said, we'll be back here next week. hopefully helping everybody and, getting together, this virtual lounge, together, rather gathering for everybody. And it's good to see different faces, although we can't see different faces, but it's good to see different energies out there. You're all
Yeah.
pure energy right now. And we're giving you love and hugs and everything that we have for you. A picnic of hugs, virtual
Ooh,
picnic
of
of
course.
hugs. Yeah.
I
So
like it.
any last words or?
For me,
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you for coming out. We love all of the interaction with you all. You are the reason we do this. So for showing your faces and sharing your insights. And if you need reminding, it is tough out there right now. And life is different for all of us, but just keep going. You're supported. You're not alone. And this is our weekly, or for Ruben, twice weekly way to just show up and say, hey, there's other people out here sharing the human struggle with you. And Kendra said,
I'm going to disagree with that one already. So that's one.
I like that. The 4 disagreements. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I feel like, has someone written that? Because if they have, it's probably pretty funny. But I just looked, by the way, he's still alive, thankfully. I think he actually was supposed to come to Sacramento, and I was going to go to a talk with his, and he got really sick. And I never heard anything about him getting better. So he did. So there's our positivity we can end with. Everyone have a fantastic weekend. Be safe, wear your masks, keep your distance. And remember that even if you're physical distancing, you are surrounded by love and support and energy. So, yeah.
So, yeah, and that's it. I'm going to play a song called Feel Good, if I can get it right, for the ending of the song. And
Awesome.
thank you for coming out. God, I'm just having the hardest time.
That's okay. Ruben has to be the host, and he is the tech guy, and he is the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain.
Okay, the tech guy. Next Friday, actually, I have 3 shows next week. Monday, Wednesday. Wednesday is Maya Wallace night, so come out tonight. That night. Monday is Mezcal tasting night, which is another one. But Friday is Cali Cocktail, and we have your feelings. We have you, everybody. So come out, talk about it. If you have anything you want to talk about, anything you want to say, we're here for you.
Awesome. Have a
Thank
good
you,
night,
Cheris.
guys. Bye, Cheris. Bye, Chris.
Melissa always says that I'm not going to last. She always lasts over an hour. So.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
I know. I didn't say that tonight, though, but I was thinking it.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, it's an hour and 20 minutes. So
It's because I get energized with the show. Like, I start off very, like...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So everybody have a good night. Bring out pumpkin because everybody... There you go.
Oh.
See?
Can you hear him?
Yeah. Pumpkin. I love your tooth. Dang, that fang. It's a beautiful fang.
He's like stuck behind my little title. There you go.
Yeah.
Good night,
This
Roberta.
is the part that we just chat about anything and then, and then people say good night. So it's a new segment. It's a longer segment. I play songs with, I say songs that barely have any vocals in it. This is the lowdown.
I like it.
Yeah.
What if we turn into totally different people? We're like kind of kind during the show, and then we're like, fuck this place.
I pull off my mask and I'm Melissa, and then you pull off your mask and
I go zip.
And Pumpkin's a dog instead of a cat.
Oh my god. And then it turns out he's been holding Fletcher, that cat, hostage. And I'm like, what in the bloody Sam Hill, Pumpkin?
Well, everybody have a good night. Here, this beat's going to come back in again, I'm guessing. Ready? Perfect.
Do I look like I'm dancing on beat?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yes. I'm not going to assume anything. And I'm not going to take it personal that you're off beat, but that's cool.
Thank you. Upside down butt.
Yeah. Oh, good night, everybody. Thank you for coming to Cali Cocktail Hour. We'll see you next Friday for Feelings Friday. And come and join a couple other times this week, and we'll see how it goes. Adios, amor. Everything else. Good night.